welcome to my channel. Well, in today's video, I want to show you how I go about pruning my tomatoes to get the most possible fruit. Well, if that sounds good to you, make sure you give me a thumbs up or leave a comment so that I know it was helpful. Let me just daydream for a minute and pretend I'm in summer. Oh, it's so much warmer here. Well, I'm going to tell you a little in my patch secret. I actually prune them the same. Whether they're a determinate variety or an indeterminate variety, I prune them the same. It's a little controversial, but it's what works for me, and it's how I get so many fruit on one single plant. A lot of gardeners will tell you if you're growing an indeterminate variety of tomato, which are ones that have no size, so they basically just keep growing and growing. As long as the plant's healthy, it'll keep getting bigger. And people tend to prune them so they're single stem and you have one main branch and then all the fruit off it, and you grow them really tall. Basically, you provide it a long, tall support and it'll grow tall and skinny. I've actually tried that technique of single stemming and I don't like it. So today I'm going to show you how I do mine. I've tried a whole bunch of different ways to prune my tomatoes, and over the years I've decided that the way that I do it now is my favorite way to prune my tomatoes. So in this video, I'm going to share the 3 main things that I look for when I'm pruning my tomatoes and show you how I go about doing it. So I guess firstly, before I get into the how-to, I want to briefly touch on the reason why. So the reason you want to prune your tomatoes is A, they get huge. If you're like me and you have nice, rich, healthy soil, your tomatoes can grow humongous. And if you're growing an indeterminate variety, which is a variety that basically keeps growing, they can get massive. So pruning helps keep them manageable. The second reason is for disease. Tomatoes can be susceptible to disease, so keeping them pruned for airflow really helps minimize the risk of them getting a disease. So there's 3 main things that I look for. Number 1, and it's the easiest, is making sure that none of the leaves or branches are touching the ground. So through the season, if I notice any of the leaves or branches touching the soil, I just go through and remove them. Little disclaimer, using a knife or a pair of secateurs would be the correct way to do this. I don't always do things by the book, so sometimes I just snap them off, sometimes I cut them off with my knife, but either way, you want to remove the ones that are touching the ground. Second tomato job is I want airflow, and in particular, I want airflow through the center of my plant. So if you look at your tomato from above and it's a wild mess, you want to give it a little prune for some airflow through the center. So the easiest way that I do this is to go through and remove any branches that are growing in towards the plant. So you've got your main stem in the center of the plant, and then you'll have leaf growth and other branches happening. I want my leaf growth to go out, so if there are any growing in towards the plant, like this one, I just remove them. So tomatoes are pollinated by the wind, they're self-pollinating, so we want enough airflow around the flowers so that when they do set flowers, they're easily pollinated and you're going to get more fruit. So number 3, and this is the trickiest one, is remove laterals and suckers. You might be asking, what the hell is a lateral? What the hell is a sucker? So basically, they're the little branches that grow in the V shape of the tomato plant. So you'll have your main stem, you'll have a branch coming out, and in the little V, you'll notice a new little sprout come out. They're actually brand new tomato branches. So a lot of people, when they're growing indeterminate varieties, which are the ones that can get really tall and big, will remove all the suckers and grow a long, skinny tomato plant. You might have seen those ones that have a really long stake, and you have a single stem growing up the stake and then all the tomatoes off it. I've tried that way a number of times and my plants are never as healthy. So I want to show you what I do. So early in my plant's life, when it's like 30 centimeters tall, I will go through and I'll remove the suckers because the plant's still really small. So the first thing I do when I'm looking for laterals is I start early. So when I plant my tomatoes, I allow them to get to about 30 centimeters tall, and then I remove all the suckers that are on the plant. Because the plant's still small, I want it to get its roots down and get established before I start letting it grow new branches. Once the plant's over 30 centimeters tall, I'll allow it to grow 2 extra suckers. So I'll have the main stem, and then I'll choose 2 healthy suckers or laterals that I'm going to keep on the plant. So I try and make sure that I have them on opposite sides of the plant so that the plant grows evenly. If I have a main stem and then the 2 suckers I keep are on one side of the plant's going to be one side heavier than the other. So I try and grow it so it's nice and balanced. As the tomato grows, I have the main stem, 2 more suckers. As the plant gets larger than that, I choose 2 more to keep on the plant and I remove the rest. So that's my little secret to growing so many tomatoes on one single plant, is I generally allow 5 main branches to form and I remove the rest of the suckers. So if you think about it, instead of having one main stem getting nice and huge and tall and having fruit, I've actually got 5 times the amount of fruit than what I would have otherwise. So there's 3 reasons I like to grow my tomatoes like this. Number 1, I think my plants are healthier. Like I said earlier, I've tried single stemming and my plants looked so unhealthy and I didn't get as much fruit. And I also think the little bit of shade that the leaf cover provides my fruit definitely helps living in a hot climate like Australia. And your tomatoes aren't getting absolutely fried in the summer sun with no kind of leaf green growth protecting them. That's number 1. Number 2, I get more fruit. I get way more fruit growing them like this. And number 3 is it's so much less work trying to keep up with removing all of the suckers all of the time and continually pruning for a long, tall, skinny tomato. It's a lot less maintenance doing it this way. They look good. You're going to get healthier plants. As long as you're pruning them for airflow, I think you'll grow healthier plants. So if you found this video interesting or helpful, or you're going to give it a go, give me a thumbs up or a comment below and make sure you subscribe. I've got lots more videos coming.